What's going on, y'all? It's the Wake Up Crew, Ray G, joined as always by my man Jay Rich, here to talk some NBA prop plays for this Thursday, November the 10th, 2022 NBA slate. But to be honest with y'all, I don't really like it. Don't really like the slate tonight. We found a couple of plays that look good in the model. We got our boys MySparry. Shout out to MySparry, and some of their data cheat sheets we'll show you guys as well. Show some of the matchup data, some players that have good matchups and bad matchups. But as always, we got to recap the plays that we discussed on the channel yesterday. Anthony Davis, first half points. He didn't score any in the first quarter, but he ended up cashing his 10.5 points. So that was a hit. Jalen Green, under 21.5. The Undertaker, Jay Rich, had to sweat that one out, but he hit, man. 21 points. 21,
barely. Saved by the hook, both of us, man.
Yes,
saved by the hook. Gotta love it.
We also, right after we dropped the video, we talked about Devin Vassell's, his points at 17.5. We put that in there, so that cashed as well. Anthony Davis' first half fantasy score did not cash. This fool had it, turned the ball over late on an offensive foul, and bricked a free throw, and ended up going under his fantasy score. And then I told you don't do it, LeBron James absolutely crushed his first half points. He came out like a madman, but the core plays that we recommended, 80s points cash, Jalen Green's under cash, the Devin Vassell play cash.
The Rainmaker himself, Devin Vassell. Every day this dude cashes.
Every damn game. But we got a couple of plays. We'll dive into it right now. Let's go.
For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money, the NBA props. No look any further. You know what time it is. Presented by PrizePicks, NBA props. Let's
count that money, man. All right, Jay, we got the model pulled up, and we got the two players we're going to discuss on tap. So let's go ahead and talk about your first one, Mr. Tobias Harris, his points versus Atlanta.
All right, people. So you know how I feel about Tobias Harris. I take him reluctantly almost every time, but the data does look really good for Tobias. First thing of note, it's minus 130 on a lot of the books right now. It's minus 122 on FanDuel. So it is leaning towards the over already on the sports books, which is great for us because we're getting some value there. Tobias has hit this in 6 straight games versus the Hawks. On top of that, he's hit 16 points in his last 4 games. It's the third best matchup to opposing power forwards, as you can see here from the data provided by MySparry. And on top of that, the Hawks are on the second leg of a back-to-back, and the Sixers haven't played since Monday. So this is kind of where I'm going with this data, right? You see the Sixers are well rested. The Hawks are on a back-to-back. It's a great matchup for Tobias. The wild card for me is Embiid, because Embiid could dominate, but he doesn't have the best success against Clint Capella. So I'm hoping they tend to lean on the better matchup with Tobias and lean on his scoring. He has been scoring well. He's been shooting 3 pretty well, about 45% over the last 5 games. So I think they do lean on Tobias. He has been scoring at a pretty good clip ever since James Harden went out. Hopefully Tyrese Maxey doesn't decide to chuck a bunch of shots and brick them, causing Tobias to go under. But I do like Tobias here. I think he's in a great spot, and there's some good value on PrizePicks. This one could move, so you probably want to get this one a little bit early. Ray, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, trust the data right here. Atlanta allows the second most rebounds to power forwards and the third most points to power forwards. We see that in our model as well. This data provided by MySparry. So you got to trust the data, right? And Tobias Harris has been scoring a little bit lately. Atlanta wants to play kind of a quick pace game, even though Philly doesn't really like to do that, right? But I like it, man. It's just Tobias Harris is to you as what John Collins is to me. Every time I freaking take John Collins, it ends up bad for me. But the data supports the play, right? We're not trying to recommend these plays on gut feel. And my gut feel is Luka's going to go over 33.5 points tonight, but I'm not going to recommend it because the data doesn't support Luka going over 33.5 points. I want to take an under on Joel Embiid, but the data doesn't support it. The data supports it. Tobias is getting the minutes. There is some value. The books say that the money is saying that he can go over this, so I like it. And again, data. This is a data-driven process. We're not betting on feel, and that's why I'm taking an under on Kelly Oubre Jr., his points and rebounds. You look at this matchup versus Miami, just red. Second fewest points to small forwards, the fourth fewest assists to small forwards, the third fewest rebounds, and then the third fewest threes to small forwards. So all the data is saying no, Kelly Oubre's three-pointers, his rebounds, his points, and assists. In our model, it's the 25th most difficult matchup for the small forward position versus Miami. He's getting about 30 minutes per game, and this 22.5 prop for his points and rebounds is right at his season average. He's averaging about 22.2 points and rebounds per game. Here's the reality with Oubre, man. This dude, you'll know real early because he can come out and be guns a-blazing. He's on fire early, or he just comes out and he's laying bricks building a house. So for me, again, trusting the matchup, trusting the data, and I'm going to take an under on Kelly Oubre's points and rebounds, and we'll come over here to PrizePicks. Let's pull this up real quick and just take a look at their last 5, right? Here we go. Oubre, they don't have it right there, but you can go to some other places, but we're going less on Oubre, and then you got Tobias Harris, right?
Yeah, Tobias Harris over 15 and did they bump it?
Oh, no. Oh, no, Jay. They have bumped the Tobias line on you live. They bumped it. 16 and a half.
No.
16 and a half. What does that do for you? What does that do? You said you had a backup play. So go ahead. Are you in on Tobias at 16 and a half points?
Oh, man. Did we get some news drop or something? Tobias at 16 and a half now? I'm seeing no change on the books. Yeah, it's still heavily juiced to the over. Man, 60. I mean, it kind of ruined. So here's the thing, right? This takes him slightly off because you look at his pace now. He's only hitting 2 games because he has 2 games with 16 points. He still has been shooting the ball well since Harden went out. It's still a good matchup. If you want to take it, that's fine. I think probably the points and rebounds is a little bit better because you are getting both things together. But I mean, at this point now, the value is just straight zapped out of Tobias Harris. But the other play I was considering as a flex option was Herbert Jones's points.
All right,
I don't think the data is quite as strong, but Herbert Jones has been scoring in each of the last 3 games. Why? I don't know, but he's been more heavily involved in the scoring. You see the output here. 60. Ray's not even meaning to give me the little ad lib at the end there. But yeah, 16 points in each of the last 3 games for Herbert Jones, a guy who usually is more defensive minded, has been scoring the ball much better. He's a guy I was going to say is more of a flex option here as well. If you want his points plus assists at 11.5, that looks good in the data as well. The points is the 7th best matchup to opposing small forwards. Portland, as we know, isn't the best team. They play a little bit smaller as well, so it's an option that they can exploit if Jones is given the ball. That's kind of the big question for me here is how often does he get involved? His minutes are a little bit spotty at times, but 9.5 points, it's pretty reasonable. He has been playing fairly well. You're looking up the book line. It's, a little bit juiced to the under right now. It's not quite pushed to the over, but I think it's a really good spot for Herbert Jones to go over. Again, it was going to be a flex play, but it may have to be my core play now because they bumped Tobias. I think both are options. Again, I think Tobias at 16.5, a little bit more flex viable than core viable. But Herbert Jones is one that I did like as well. I think it's a very good spot for a guy against a really bad team, and they can, put up points obviously against Portland. So I don't mind either play. Definitely preferred Tobias when he was still at 15.5 though.
Let me just see if they moved Embiid's points, rebounds, and assists, and they haven't. It's still at 43.5. I'll just say I'm glad they moved your play and not mine, Jay. So there it is. Herbert Jones, more than 9.5 points. Kelly Oubre Jr., under 22.5 points and rebounds. As always, take what you like and please leave whatever you don't like. If you don't like any of these plays today, we will not be offended. Don't take it, but we are trusting the data. It's a data-driven process that we follow with our model and using MySpari's data as well. Click the link in the description below if you want access to those cheat sheets that we kind of popped up. You can go over there and get that with MySpari. But if you tail, give PrizePicks hell, and if we fail, do not bail. Enjoy the NBA tonight. Good luck and good night. We're out. Peace.